Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK podcast. In this clip, we're going to be talking about Carlos Prates and his win over Neil Magney last weekend at UFC in the Apex. Carlos Prates is unbelievable. I'm joined here by John and Dan. Nearly forgot to introduce you there. How's things?
All good, all good. How about you?
Yes, not too bad, not too bad. Dan, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Carlos Prates is on his way to welterweight gold.
That's 11 wins for him in a row, 10 by finish, all round one or round two. Unbelievable stats. He goes 4-0 in 2024. We were talking about Fighter of the Year, Alex Pereira, Ilia Topuria. I don't think he has won it, but he certainly entered his name into the conversation, winning 4 fights in one calendar year. He looked really good against Neil Magney. It was kind of what we were expecting. I think Dan picked a round 2 KO. I actually went round 3. I thought Magney would be a bit more durable, and John picked Prates by murder. So I think John was the closest. What do you think, John?
Well, you said in the preview pod that we'll call it round 1, and I'm glad you did, because I just thought he was gonna destroy Magney, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 rounds. But I'm glad you said I got a round 1 finish. So I'm glad I got one prediction correct.
We are going to take the assist for that one for sure. It was an unbelievable performance, Dan, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, it was sort of expected. Like I said, Prates is this phenom that everyone's raving about, and I think it was a moment that everyone wanted to see. As much as everyone loved Neil Magney, he's a veteran in this game. But yeah, like I said, for Prates, it's that superstar moment, get that viral KO on top of the other ones he's already got, like I said. So it was a great performance for Prates. Like I said, he's fit, ready now, and he'll be out active like he has been. 4 fights in a calendar year. That's Kevin Holland level sort of activity. You don't see that from many people. So for Carlos Prates, yeah, I hope to see him back in the octagon soon, and it'll be for someone in that top 10, I reckon.
And
while you're smoking, go ahead, John.
When you get first round finishes and you get no damage taken, you could definitely do a harder calendar fight year. So yeah, the Prates is insane. I think welterweight division might become the more stacked division soon. We'll see. And especially I like the call out after.
Smoking cigarettes the whole way through as well, which gives him that legendary status already. The fact that he can do that, I think he's a superstar up and coming. It was a bit of a weird punch, John, wasn't it? It wasn't the cleanest punch ever. It looked as if Neil Magney actually half blocked it, but it must have just caught him on the temple and dropped him. It completely flatlined him.
Well, I think Prates tweeted after, like, give me anyone and get punched in the face like that, in the head over there, and see if he actually will stand. It looked like it reminded me of Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Neil Magney, how he knocked out Magney like that. It looked kind of similar. Prates just hits. I mean, he's so skinny. He looks like he could probably, he's a betweener between lightweight and welterweight kind of. But he has crazy power. I don't even know where he gets it from. It's pinpoint accuracy. Because he has pinpoint accuracy. That's the thing. It's like with him, with what he did to Radke, what he did to like Jing Liang. It wasn't like crazy, like one punch power kind of stuff. It was just more like breaking down your opponent. But it's just like every punch he throws is super, super hard. And he caught Neil. And he kind of saw it coming because Neil was like more like clinching. Even the clinches, Prates would turn it around and he would separate. He heard Magney right before too in the round earlier, just like I think a couple of seconds earlier, 30 seconds I want to say, and then got the finishing blow at the end.
Something that me and Dan alluded to in the preview pod as we were discussing it was how Prates, he seems to know how to get them highlight reel finishes against the Leech. To be honest, I think he could have finished him a lot sooner, but he kept allowing him to get back up. And he done the same thing with Neil Magney. He really wanted that one punch KO with him. One of the most promising things about Prates is the gym that he comes out of. Obviously coming out of the Fighting Nerds gym. So many good fighters at the minute. An interesting conversation I thought we could have, Dan, is who is the most promising fighter coming out of this gym? You've got Gene Silva, he's also won 11 in a row. Kyber Halio, he's maybe a fight or two off a title shot. You've got
Rufy.
Mauricio Rufy,
Yeah.
Bruno Brazil, so many good fighters. Who is the most promising, Dan?
Well, I think for the one who's got that superstar power, I think might actually be Prates, because he's got those 4 quick finishes. Like I said, he's that sort of you don't want to say a villain, but he's got that sort of, like Taporia does, it's that bad guy sort of vision that you see behind him. You see edits of him on TikTok all over the place. You see that sort of thing. So it's the same with him and Gene Silva. I think for Borrallo, like I said, he's very close to that title shot. If he does fight someone like Adesanya and get that win, he's right there. So I think for Borrallo, he's next in line for that title. But I think for Prates, he might be the most exciting prospect they have out of that gym. When it comes to Gene Silva, like I said, he again would jump in on short notice against anyone. So I think for Gene Silva, he's in the same position as Prates. They're just on the edge of those rankings of welterweight and featherweight. Some big wins will get them right in. I think Prates might actually be ranked by the time the rankings do come out this week. But I think, yeah, Prates is definitely the one to watch. For Mauricio Rufy, this weekend is a big moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
They put him opening that main card to get a highlight reel finish. So if he gets that, hey, look, that's prospect number 3 out of the fighting Ned. So they're one of the hottest gyms in the sports.
I agree 100%. I think Prates probably is. He's got the most knockout power in my opinion. But then you're looking at Gene Silva and see that cut that he gave Drew Dober as well. What do you think, John? Who do you think will go all the way out of this gym? Certainly one of them has to be a title winner. I do truly believe that. One of them is going to win a title, maybe a couple of them. Which one do you think it will be?
All 4 of them. All 4 of what we mentioned of Prates, Bahario, Rufy, Silva, all 4 of them are going to be champion. It works out. They're all in different divisions as well. But the most exciting will probably be Prates, just because he finished everybody. Bahario, it was kind of similar how Prates faced Magney, the gatekeeper, and Bahario faced Jared Cannonier, who's also, let's say, gatekeeper. And who had the more impressive performance? Definitely Prates. And I think in a more stacked division than middleweight at the moment, he will go much farther, because then you want to see him against JDM, which he called out. I think will be an amazing fight. Ironically, there's also a card in Australia in February for pay-per-view. I think that's a perfect matchup. We have Shafkat, we have Ian Gary. I think even against MVP would be an interesting fight, as Carlos likes going forward, and then MVP likes taking the distance. And I don't see any wrestling here. It's just gonna be crazy. But I think maybe Carlos will have. I think actually Caio will probably get to the belt first, because of how the lackluster the top 5 of the middleweight division is. But Prates is right there. He's right after.
Would you agree with that, Dan? Do you think Prates should go maybe an MVP or that kind of level? Or it's one that I seen floating about there, and we discussed it before, was Jeff Neal. This year's one that makes sense to me. I would like to see him. He probably will slip into the rankings now with a win over Neil Magney. I think he'll take his place at 15th in the rankings. Jeff Neal is currently 10th, so that's a good jump up. There's no need for him to rush this either. There's no need for him to look maybe in the top 5 yet. Do you think Jeff Neal is a good one, or is there any other names you'd throw out there, Dan?
Yeah, I think Jeff Neal is the most popular name I've seen since his win. I think it's one he called out, obviously, alongside JDM. I think for JDM, I mean, it's a lofty call out. Like I said, JDM's about 5 now in the rankings, so he's looking to get up there if he does get that JDM fight. I think that fight, that comes with availability. If they can't find anyone else in the top 15 that wants to fight JDM in Sydney, because that's where he will fight. We're not going to see JDM anywhere else other than UFC 312. If they need an opponent, we know Carlos Prates is going to put his name forward, pack his cigarettes, and fly out there. He's on his way. So I think for Carlos Prates, if he can't find any other matchup, or the UFC need someone for JDM, Carlos Prates will be there. So I think Jeff Neal, I agree with you. Jeff Neal, I think, is the logical next step. But stay ready and get out to Australia if you need to, definitely.
The good part about this, it's not boxing. You see, if they want to make a fight, they will do it. In boxing, we're gonna wait 20 years for this fight to happen. So I have more hopes that a 15th ranked Paradas versus a 5 ranked JDM would fight
Yeah.
much sooner than expected.
It will be a very, very exciting matchup. They all are great matchups there for Carlos Prates. I do think a superstar is born coming out of the Fighting Nerds gym. Thank you very much for watching this short clip from the Combat Sports UK podcast. Make sure and check us out. We do long form podcasts. We're going to record the UFC 309 preview now, so make sure and check that out. Make sure and follow us on all socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.